What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P. We are back here once again. You already know what it is. It is Friday. Friday, party, 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 fun, fun, fun. Hashtag, if use the hashtag. But one thing's for certain and three things are for sure. When you see me in front of TV, number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats and not none of that static. And number three, we want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. You may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's a very simple process, and I will let you know. I will divulge the information. I ain't gonna keep it from you. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this with your peoples. Because once you've done that, then you have indeed kept your Lions news pragmatic. And it doesn't matter in which order you do it in, just as long as you've done it. And since sharing is caring, once you've shared this with your mothers, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your cousins, your uncles, your sisters, your names, your fathers, cousins, you name it, you have indeed cared about those people. Now, we got some things to get into today. I'm a little bit under the weather, so I got my cup of noodle. I'm gonna be sipping. Got to get that broth going. Hey man, it is the time to do the thing that we do with the breakdown. We're gonna break down this game. We're gonna go over the numbers. We're gonna go over the probability. We're gonna go over all these things to kind of give you guys a glimpse into how actually the Detroit Lions can pull this off because it's any given Sunday. And if the Rams can lose to the Panthers, they damn sure can lose to the Lions. It can happen. It ain't going to be easy. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy at all. It's going to be very, very difficult. That's a good team over there. Unfortunately, Matthew Stafford is their quarterback. You all know how I feel about Matthew Stafford, but Matthew Stafford is a very good quarterback. I'm not a child. I'm not going to tell you he sucks. He this, that, and the third thing. No, he just didn't win anything in Detroit. And for that, he's not near and dear to my heart. He didn't win anything. He asked out without winning anything. And then his wife, well, she's atrocious. The things that she said about him and about what she was doing with his backup quarterback and how she just volunteered this information and didn't stop to think one time about how that was going to make him look. Because it makes him look like a cuck. It makes him look like a simp. It makes him look like Diddy when he was in the room with the baby oil and the male gigolo and Cassie. That's what it makes Matthew Stafford look like. But that's neither here nor there. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. What up to everybody in the chat? What up to everybody who's chatting? And what up to everybody who is not chatting but lurking? You might have it on in the background, and I appreciate you. So what up though to everybody out there? All right. So as we know, the Detroit Lions are going to be facing the Los Angeles Rams. It's a little bit hot up in here, but I do need to sweat. If it gets too hot, I'm just gonna come out the hoodie because we can't do that. All right. The Detroit Lions are going to be facing this Los Angeles Rams, and there are some implications here on the table. The biggest implication for the Detroit Lions is getting into the playoffs. If you breeze through these last 4 games, and I don't mean breeze through them like, oh, you run through everybody and you just dominate, whatever the case may be. If you get through these last 4 games with dubs, you're pretty much guaranteed to make the playoffs. If you lose this game to the Los Angeles Rams, then there's a possibility that you could miss the playoffs. I mean, at 11-6, it's not guaranteed. Remember when the Patriots went 11-5 back during 16-game seasons and didn't make the playoffs when Brady got hurt? I remember that, right? Okay. So remember all of you at the beginning of the season who were like, oh, 11-6 plus the playoffs, I don't care. Yeah, well, hopefully it's not 11-6 and no playoffs, because then, as I said, be careful what you wish for. Okay. So the Lions do need to win this game. They need to win this game, the next one, and the last one. They need to win all of these games to ensure that they will be in the playoffs because there's no way a 12-5 team is not going to make the playoffs. It just will not happen because of the way that things are shaping out. The Bears still have to play the Packers again. They have to play the San Francisco 49ers. Um, so there are teams that are in the hunt that have to play or play each other. The 49ers, I don't know if they still have to play the Seahawks once more. But they could drop out of the wild card with a couple of losses. So it can happen. It can happen. What up to Tactical Sport? All right. So we have the junk talker in the chat, and I won't acknowledge him today because he's got to worry about beating Shedeur Sanders in the Browns. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. We went over some numbers before, but we'll go over the numbers again just to know. It doesn't look like Kirby Joseph is playing in this game. I know Kirby Joseph is really, really trying to get back because he hates Matthew Stafford. Okay. Kirby and I share the same hate. But Matthew Stafford didn't really do anything to me other than suck when he was on my team. Okay. And you may say, oh, he didn't suck. He was a very good quarterback. That's fine. When you don't win, you suck. I'm sorry. Okay. As a quarterback, when you don't win, you suck. All right. So we're gonna go over the offensive rankings and then we will go over the defensive rankings. All right, the offensive rankings. The Detroit Lions are still number 3. Let me refresh this to make sure that everything is cool. I'm gonna come out this hoodie because, like I said, it's too hot in here. 1 second. I know it's good to sweat when you're sick, but bro, it's uncomfortable as hell, and I don't want to be sitting up here uncomfortable while dealing with y'all. All right, so let me go ahead and put this into split screen. Boop, boop. Okay. All right. So the Detroit Lions are still the 3rd leading offense in the league. Right now, we are racking up 378.7 yards per game, and we've scored 48 offensive touchdowns. Now, right below that is the Los Angeles Rams. Okay. They're at 373.2, and they've scored 49 offensive touchdowns. So we're separated by 5 yards in a touchdown. Okay. So if we want to say, well, our offense is gonna, be better than theirs, that's a wash. That's a toss. That's a toss up. We're talking about 5 yards average, and we're talking about 1 touchdown that separates both of the teams. We got 48. They got 49. We get 5 more yards. They get 5 less yards. That is a toss up, ladies and gentlemen. That is the definition of a pick 'em. So when we get the offense on the field, our offense could score, and then their offense could score. Our offense could falter, then their offense could falter. It is all the same, pretty much. 5 yards average, 1 touchdown. That's what separates these two teams. So if you wanted to see a shootout, you just might get one. You just might get one. What up, though, Zach Jade? All right. That's the total offense. Okay. All right. Passing offense. The Rams are better. They're at number 3, 249.2 yards per game, 35 passing touchdowns. The Detroit Lions are at number 5. Okay. 242.8 yards, 27 passing touchdowns. Okay. So again, we are separated by what is that? 7 yards passing, but we're also separated by 8 touchdowns. Okay. In that situation, which means we score more running touchdowns. Okay. So our strength is more the rush, their strength is more the pass. But whatever it is, strength on strength is very, very similar. Very, very similar. Okay. All right. We are going to get to the rushing offense. The rushing offense for the Detroit Lions is ranked at number 5. Okay. We are getting 135.8 yards per game, and we have 20 rushing touchdowns. While the Rams, when we want to find the Rams, well, where are they? Let me see. They're number 11. Okay. So from 5 to 11, we're at 135.8 yards per game. They're at 123.9 yards per game. So we're talking about 12 yards on average. They've got 13 touchdowns. We've got 20. 7 touchdowns. Okay. So while they make up the 8 touchdown gap and they're in their passing, we have the 7 touchdown gap in our rushing. Now, here's the thing. This is something you can exploit. I heard somebody say something before. I don't remember who said it, but it was basically counting on a certain running back or someone or certain, like, to turn the ball over. Like, that's how we could win the game. Somebody's got to turn the ball over and we could count on whatever. Kyren Williams, Jameson Williams' cousin, has a fumbling problem. You can count on Kyren Williams to cough up the ball. You can count on him to cough up the ball when it matters most. You can count on him. So there's going to be an emphasis, especially with him, especially with Kyren Williams, when he's coming through the pile, when he's coming through the middle of the line. If he's out in the open field, punch the ball out because he has a fumbling issue. Blake Corum has also put the ball on the ground a few times. Okay? So their running back room is a factory of sadness. No, that's what they used to call the Browns. Okay? It is a factory of fumbles. Okay? Their running back room is a factory of fumbles. So that's something that we can actually look to exploit because they actually have that problem, not because we just feel like somebody might or they turn the ball over every now and again. That's not how it works. All right. So the rushing game has more than just the 12-yard separation, the 7 touchdown separation. They fumble a lot. And they fumble in costly areas. You could be going in on the 1-yard line, going in to score and fumble. That happens. It has happened with Kyren Williams. So I don't have any faith that he will all of a sudden just get right. Why? Why is that going to happen all of a sudden? Kyren Williams is like super glue, like gorilla glue on his hands. He can't be touched. Why? That doesn't make a lot of sense. He is who we think he is. He's a decent running back with a fumbling problem. Okay. All right. Who leads the NFL in takeaways? Ron, it definitely is not the Lions or the Rams. But this isn't a show about the Bears. So I'm not going to be, I'm doing a show. So I'm not going to be doing the whole trolling situation. All right. So that's the rushing offense. Scoring offense. Lions number 1 scoring offense in the National Football League. We score 30.3 points a game. As I said, we have 48 total touchdowns. The Rams are not too much further. They are number 4. They scored 29.2 points per game. They have 49 total touchdowns. It is literally not a full point that separates us. It is literally not a full point that separates us. Okay. So I hope you guys are getting the picture of what I'm saying. This ain't going to be easy. This ain't one of those situations where you say, well, you know, they got a good defense, but their offense sucks. So as long as we can get our offense off the ground and, you know, hover around and pick up field goals, their offense is so terrible that they can't score. Nah, it's not one of those situations. Okay. Very good offense is the Los Angeles Rams. All right, red zone offense. The Lions are at number 3, and so are the Rams. We're both tied at 66.7%. Again, I'm just trying to get y'all to understand how close this game is offensively. Okay? This game is very close offensively. And the numbers keep telling you this. So anybody that's picking a blowout or whatever the case may be, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be doing that. It might happen. Right? The Lions might blow the Rams out. The Rams might blow the Lions out, but it's more likely that it's going to be a close game. That's the more likely scenario. Okay. I'll get to your comments in a second. Okay. And third down offense. We already know that our third down offense ain't great. Okay. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I haven't gotten to either the Rams or the Lions. We're both not great on third down, right? Now I get to the Rams at number 17. They are 38.8% conversion. I'm going to tell you what, guys. Remember this. When it comes to third down defense, do not let them get to fourth and manageable because they will go for it. Don't let them get to 4th and 1, 4th and 2. They will go for it. And if they go for it, defense, you will be targeted. You will be kept off of the field. Okay? That's just what's going to happen. All right? Well, I guess I should say you'll be kept on the field. Right? All right. So the Rams are 17th and the Lions are 19th. Okay? Now, the percentage is 0.2. 38.8 for the Rams, 38.6 for the Lions. Okay? Neither one of those things are great. Okay, 17 and 19. But again, even when we're not great in something, we're eerily similar. Yes, and the word is similar, not similar. There is no U in the word. Okay, I heard somebody say that yesterday, and it triggered me. Similar, not similar. Okay, all right. That is the breakdown for each of the offenses. Tadu Sports says, if you ignore him, he will go away. Facts. You're let's see what we got here. Leads the league in takeaways and still lost to GB. Wow. All right. 2021 Cedric says, when your analysis, I'm wondering how you think Green Bay will finish versus Browns and Ravens. Yeah, we'll do that in a bit. After your analysis, yeah. When I looked it up, Lions had most points scored. Yes, either team can win big. Agreed. And Bears. Yeah, we'll do that in a bit. All right, let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Let's see here. Separate the views and let me go back to Cali. No, I'm playing. All right. Defense. Switch these over. All right. The 2025 NFL defensive rankings, team pass, and rush stats. Brent DeWitt says Packers thought Browns were an easy win too. LOL. Indeed. Indeed. The Browns, bro, listen, if the Browns got just some competency around there, you got Myles Garrett, you got a good defense. It was the number one defense in the league for a while. You've got, Shedeur Sanders, who is a lot better than a whole lot of people thought. I mean, if you had someone who was actually there willing to develop him, Browns would be they'd be contenders in their division. So they're not super duper far off, really at all. If they got the quarterback right, then what else is left? The coach. Just saying. All right. Total defense. Of course, the Texans are number one. The Browns are number two. The Broncos are number 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Rams. The Rams are 13th overall. They give up 315 yards per game, and they've allowed 24 touchdowns. Where are the Lions, you say? 2 spots below. The Lions are 15. They give up 323.9 yards per game. So basically, they're giving up 8 more yards per game, 8.9 yards per game. And they've given up 35 touchdowns. Okay. Now, that is the scary part. The Rams, while they give up yards, they've given up 11 fewer touchdowns than the Detroit Lions. So there's your key to victory right there. It's always the key to victory. You got to score more points than the other team. But in a situation like this, you cannot allow the Rams to get the lead. You cannot allow the Rams to dictate what you are going to do and where you're going to go and how you're going to play the game. Because if you do that, you will not win. They stop you from scoring touchdowns. You can't kick field goals. You must score touchdowns. So look for Dan Campbell to go for it early and often on 4th down when it's 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, 4th and manageable. Okay. All right. That's it. Let me go put the kettle on and get some tea. 1 second. forgot the kettle had already been turned on, right? Because I made a couple noodles. All right. Um. So yeah, if you can hold them to field goals, if you can avoid kicking field goals yourself, that's what it's going to be. Remember, all the games between the Lions and the Rams since the trade have been tight games. The first one in Los Angeles, we made an effort to come back at the end, but we were pretty much dominated because our team sucked. Since this roster has been built, since we started going to the playoffs with this team, this roster, the Lions and the Rams games have been must-see TV. They've been tight. They've been down to the wire. One of them went to overtime. Okay? So anybody that's predicting a cakewalk, I'm not. I don't know what's wrong with you. You need to have your head examined. Let's see what we got here. Robert Stevens, lamb chops for Sunday's dinner and lamb chops play along. Red zone defense. Yes, we'll get to all of those things. Did he mute? No, I didn't. I'm good. I didn't mute. All right. Hope MCDC takes points on the road and learns from his past mistakes, a la NFC Championship game. The Monty Bowl, right? That's the one that went to overtime. I don't know. Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So that's the total defense. Let's get to pass defense. And this is the thing that we have to worry about. Okay? This is the thing we have to worry about. Pass defense. Of course, the Browns are number one. Where are the Lions? Okay, now I've gotten to 13. I don't see the Rams or the Lions. Awesome, right? Then I get to 16 and I see the Rams. They give up 211.5 yards per game and they've allowed 18 touchdowns. The Lions are at 19. They give up 221.2 yards per game, so we're separated by 10 yards. And we've given up 26 touchdowns, right? We're separated by what? 8 touchdowns? Okay. I hope you guys are seeing a trend here. By the numbers, whether it's offense or defense, the Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams are very, very, very similar. We don't have big spreads in terms of yards. Ooh, we're separated by 100 yards here. No. Our spreads are 5 yards, 10 yards, 11 yards, 7 yards, right? We offense and defense. These are very similar teams. All right. Rushing defense. Okay. The Lions are, of course, better. We are at number 10. We're finally back in the top 10 for something. Okay. The Lions are 102.7 yards per game. They've allowed 9 rushing touchdowns. What do you think the Rams are? Anybody want to guess? What did I just say about them being very similar? Anybody want to guess? I'll tell you. Right behind the Lions. The Lions are number 10. The Rams are number 11. The Lions give up 102.7. The Rams give up 103.5. Not actually a yard. 0.8 yards per game is the difference. The Lions have given up, here you go, 9 touchdowns on the ground, while the Rams have given up 4. Because remember, I told you the biggest difference here is the points. The points allowed. The Rams aren't giving up the touchdowns that the Lions are giving up. So while the Rams may give up the yards, not giving up the touchdowns. 4 rushing touchdowns the entire season. The Lions are 8-5. The Rams are 10-3. It means we played 13 games. And in 13 games, the Rams have given up 4 touchdowns on the ground. 4. Just 4. I'm telling you, this ain't going to be easy. This is not going to be easy. And I'm not, again, there's not going to be any Matthew Stafford love fests. If you were a Detroit Rams fan, you should feel ashamed of yourself. You don't have to out yourself. Unless you're going to out yourself and tell us that you punched yourself in the face 15 times and knocked out one of your teeth just to, try to make up for being a Detroit Rams fan, for buying one of those shirts and actually wearing them. All right. So that's the rushing offense. Rushing defense. Scoring defense. We already know that the Rams are better defending the scores. But as I said, where are the Rams? They're number 3. 17.5 points per game, 24 touchdowns overall. And here's where we run into a problem. They're giving up 17.5 points per game. How many are the Lions giving up? First of all, the Lions are number 18. They're giving up 23.4 points per game, and they've given up 35 touchdowns. Okay? So the spread has moved from 3 to 6 to 5.5 and things of that nature. The Rams give up 6 more points or 6 fewer points than the Lions per game. Seems like the spread, right? It's going to be hard to come by this points. It's going to be hard to come by points against this team. They give up 17.5 points per game. It's not going to be an easy task. Sorry. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to blow smoke up your butt. I'm not going to do any of that. It's not going to be easy. All right. Red zone defense. Rams are number 2. When you get, and that doesn't surprise me, seeing as how they've only given up 24 touchdowns in 13 games. The Rams are number 2. You know who's number 1? The Broncos at 40%. The Rams are number 2 at 42.5%. Okay. This is where the stuff separates. The Lions used to be top 10. As I said, the Rams are number 2 and number 3 in scoring. The Lions are number 18. The Rams are number 2 in red zone offense or defense. The Lions, 25. I'm sorry, that's the Jets. The Lions, 23. Okay? 61% of the time when you get into the red zone, you're going to score against the Lions. 42% of the time. That is the biggest gap. So what do you have to do? You have to keep them out of the red zone. Stay in drives and go into the red zone, you are going to lose this game. Because you've showed that you cannot stop teams from scoring on you when they get into the red zone. Again, you've given up 11 more touchdowns. 20% of the time, or 19 more percent of the teams are 19 more percent likely, or 19% more likely, I should say it correctly, to score on you in the red zone than they are on the Rams. It's that simple. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. All right, third down defense. We talked about it in the offense. The Rams are eighth, 36.2% of the time they allow you to convert, and the Lions are 11th, 37.6. Again, we're neck and neck. Okay. The biggest difference between the Lions offense, not the offense. The biggest difference between the Lions defense and the Rams defense is the amount of points that you score, which is the biggest and the most important thing in any sport. As long as you score more than the other team, you win. The Lions or the Rams are more adept at stopping you from scoring than the Lions are. And the Lions are slightly are almost the same. 48 touchdowns to 49 touchdowns in scoring with the Rams. The advantage of all of this, people, and I'm telling you straight, I'm shooting you straight. The advantage is the Rams. And they're at home. Let me read your comments. Yeah, I did all of the rankings, so we're good. Let me separate these so I can get back to full screen. All right. Honestly, after looking at who the Rams play, I'm not impressed. Okay. Pull up. We'll do that. We'll pull up the Rams schedule and we'll pull up the Lions schedule. Because you can only play who's in front of you. Kirby and Branch being out worries the hell out of me versus Stafford and Co. Facts. Now their secondary their secondary doesn't have great corners, and those corners have to go up against Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. We said that their passing defense ain't great, right? But here's the thing. Your corners suck. But there's a guy on your defensive line named Jared Verse. Here's the other thing that pissed me off. We picked Terrion Arnold over Jared Verse. Well, not over Jared Verse. Sorry. That's inaccurate. We picked Terrion Arnold instead of picking Jared Verse. And I don't know what. I don't know what the offer was from Brad Holmes. Because remember, Brad Holmes moved up to draft Terrion Arnold. I think number 24. The Rams moved up to 19 to get Jared Verse. Right? The picks weren't crazy different, right? The Rams, we beat them in the wild card round. And then we wound up going to the NFC Championship. So that was two. So we were picking number 28. And let's say the Rams were picking number 25. Let's even say 24. So they moved up 5 or 6 spots to get Jared Verse. We would have had to move up. We were 28. So if they were 25, and they moved up 6 spots, we would have had to move up 9 or 10. But Dan Campbell said we liked Jared Verse. We liked him in the draft. I just want to know, when are we going to stop hearing about trying? We tried to do this. We tried to do that. We tried to get Daniil Hunter. We picked up the phone for Myles Garrett. We picked up the phone for Max Crosby. We picked up the phone for Trey Hendrickson. I don't know about you guys, but we tried to do this and we tried to do that, and it takes two to tango. I'm tired of hearing that. I'm tired of hearing that. Who the Rams were in the Super Bowl a few years ago and they won it. So you can't tell me, unless it's some nefarious reasons, that people would rather deal with Sean McVay and Les Snead than, or I'm sorry, they would rather deal with Les Snead than deal with Brad Holmes. Because we can say, oh, Detroit versus everybody, and people just don't want to deal with Brad Holmes or whatever because Detroit. I don't know if I buy that at this point. Is it the whole league? The whole league is conspiring and colluding. They want to keep Detroit out of the Super Bowl forever. And the fact that the Rams just won it a few years ago, not okay, it's fine. Well, we can deal with them then. Or is it more likely that the offer that was put forth by Brad Holmes wasn't as good as the offer that was put forth by the Rams? Both teams go F them picks. Both teams. But you know the picks that Les Snead Fs, those are picks that people would want. The picks that Brad Holmes Fs are picks that we would want because we know how valuable they are, but he decides to pick project players, third round picks. That has been his MO, his modus operandi since he got here. So now while we're sitting up here talking about we've got to protect Jared Goff, Jared Verse is one of the reasons we got to protect Jared Goff. And we could have had Jared Verse, but I'm pretty sure there was some extra third rounders in there that we didn't want to throw in because we got to pick guys like Broderick Martin and Hendon Hooker and use third round picks to move up to pick Giovanni Manu and so on and so forth. I'm just saying. All right. Lions offense will go up if O-line keeps improving and with Morton out. That's facts, but the Lions offensive line is gonna have to play the game of their lives on Sunday. That's it. Detroit Rams crap was total BS, ridiculous. Facts. Need a shirt that says whom. If they can shut down Matthew Stafford and freaking Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, yeah, sure. Yeah, not that impressed with who they have played, and that loss of the Panthers looks similar to our loss to the Vikings. It will be a close game, hopefully. See, the difference is our loss to the Vikings was a divisional loss. I don't know how you lose to the Panthers if you're supposed to be a Super Bowl contending team. But then again, a lot of Super Bowl contending thinkers on their way to winning a Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles last year were about to fire their head coach. Then they won a Super Bowl. Yeah, make them punt the ball and stop them from getting hit first after the 50-yard line. Facts. There have been times the Lions' red zone defense looked really good. No times. Rams linebacker, I forgot the name, leads the Rams in sacks. Is that Jared Verse? Because they got Bryant Young, who has like 11, and he's an interior pass rusher. 9 spots. Okay. We do. Facts. I'm getting to that point. I'm getting to that point. If we if one of y'all makes a silly ass draft, if we have some silly ass picks, some third round draft picks that we're using as project players this draft, I'm done. Oh, we don't have third round picks. I'm sorry. Yeah, we don't have third round picks this draft. Maybe that's why he did it. Maybe that's why he drafted Tesla. He's like, I can get rid of these third round picks so I don't have the pressure next year. Have played. Let's bring that up. LA Rams 2025 schedule. All right. Let's go with September 8th. They played the Texans. They beat them 14-9. September 15th. Well, these are in my time. So September 14th would be they played the Titans and beat them 33-19. They lost to the Eagles 26-33. You allowed the Eagles to score 33 points. That's interesting. They beat the Colts 27-20. They lost to the 49ers 26-23. They beat the Ravens 17-3. They beat the Jaguars 35-7. They beat the Saints 34-10. They beat the 49ers 42-26. They beat the Seahawks 21-19. They beat the Buccaneers 34-7. They lost to the Panthers 31-28. They beat the Cardinals 45-17. I mean, I see what you're saying. They haven't played the stiffest of competition. So I see what you're saying. And then I just saw that they have the Falcons on the 29th of December. The Atlanta Falcons don't win anything. Okay? The Atlanta Falcons don't win anything. But what they've done this season, and really the last few seasons, they've identified needs on the team and tried to fill the holes. Last season, they didn't have a pass rush to speak of. This season, 2 rookies because they were aggressive in the first round, and it's paying dividends. Last night, they harassed Baker Mayfield. He ran for his life. I think he was sacked 7 times. And even despite them setting a franchise record for penalties with, I think, 18 or 19, even going into the fourth quarter, even being down by 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, they were able to beat the Buccaneers. And the biggest reason they were able to beat the Buccaneers is because Baker Mayfield was running for his life the entire night. There's a blueprint out there, guys. There's a blueprint. And it doesn't matter if you're a bad team. It doesn't matter if you're a good team. The blueprint is that when you're who will be considered top tier or second tier or third tier, whatever, right? It depends wherever you put Baker Mayfield and your quarterback tiers. When you face Lamar Jackson, when you face Joe Burrow, when you face Justin Herbert, when you face Matthew Stafford, Josh Allen, the belief is that if you can make them uncomfortable in the pocket, if you can flush them out the pocket, if you can get them off their spot, if you can harass them, if you can sack them multiple times. We sacked Lamar Jackson 7 times. And everybody thought our pass rush was fixed. We sacked Dak Prescott 5 times last week. There was a shift in philosophy. You said linebackers, you gotta do your part in the run game because we're gonna let these dudes go get the quarterback. That's got to be what you're doing. That's got to be what you're doing. If you're not doing that against Matthew Stafford, he'll carve you up. I can't stand Matthew Stafford. I can't stand him. He won nothing in Detroit, not even a division. What was he, 8-68 versus winning teams? Winning meaning one game over 500? Okay, it's that's. What else you want me to tell you? If you don't get to Matthew Stafford and you allow him to sit back there and pat the ball and throw to Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, you know why they lost to the Carolina Panthers? Because the Carolina Panthers defensive line pressured the hell out of him. Made him make bad decisions. Sacked him. So, y'all got a choice to make. You got a choice to make. And that choice is, will you do what you did last week to put the pressure on Dak Prescott? Will you do the same thing to Matthew Stafford? Or you revert back to saying you've got to earn the right to rush the passer? I don't want to hear nothing about earning the right to rush the passer. I'm sorry. Not this game. This ain't the game to do that. Because that passer will kill you. Unfortunately. All right. Let me see what y'all got. What's a third round pick? LOL. What's a third round pick that actually helps us? Right now, third round picks will keep Brad Holmes out of the Hall of Fame and might be worse. Ravens were hurt and Colts should have won. The most impressive win that they have is the Seahawks. The 49ers were staying relevant year in and year out, banking third round picks. Right. Because they use them to their benefit. We don't use them at all. We pick Broderick Martin and Hendon Hooker. The QBs they have gone against are the best. That's why their defensive numbers are so good. But their offense with Adams is dangerous. Aren't the best. That's what I thought you meant. Yeah. Bill Belichick would grab every third round pick he could get. Preach it to the choir, brother. The importance of the third round pick. Brad Holmes doesn't know it. There was one play during the Vikings game where I seen Hutch, who was in a wide 9 stance, hit a spin move, had a wide open lane to the QB, slowed down and went to block the top. Was he maybe diagnosing a tight end screen? What? A good defensive line wins games? Oh, sure. Next, you're going to tell me a good offensive line wins games too. LMAO. Don't forget, in the rain, I just know cats love lamb chops too. What up to Belinda Brown? All right. You know what time it is. Mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they reading you? Mailbag. Snicks. Mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in Get him in, bask in it. I also didn't give my score prediction. I say 35-28. And I'm not gonna say who's gonna win because I think the final score will be 35-28. Whoever reaches 35 first wins. That's my prediction. I am I'm not confident in this defense. Kirby's out, Brian Branch is out, Terrion Arnold is out. DJ Reed did not look good. Amik Robertson gives up the most yards in any quarter from by any corner in the league. You know, Hallett, Mallet, Ballot, Spallett, Wallet, and Fallett. Those are the guys out there playing safety. I don't know, bro. So whoever gets the 35 points first wins. That's where I'm going. Top 100 players in the first 3 rounds. Yeah, it's probably a big number. First to 35. Facts. We have a Davenport. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that guy. Apparently he looked good last week without stats. With one tackle. People always talk about how good he looks, bro. I don't understand how everybody wants to make Davenport a thing. I don't get it. I really don't. Of course he's playing. Of course he's playing. Let me get the injury report. Rams, Lions, injury report. All right, Rams wire. Are they without anyone? Devontae Adams was only limited on Friday and is officially questionable to play. Sean McVay said that Adams is expected to play. However, and he would be very surprised if the star receiver doesn't suit up. He's the Rams' only player on the final injury report. Byron Young and Alaric Jackson got rest days on Friday, but everyone else practiced in at least some capacity. So we're going to be playing a fully healthy Rams team. The Lions will be without Kirby Joseph, who suffered a setback with his knee injury. He's a candidate to be placed on injured reserve, along with Brian Branch, who tore his Achilles last week and is out for the year. Starting left tackle Taylor Decker is questionable with a shoulder injury, as is wideout and return specialist Khalif Raymond ankle. In total, the Lions have ruled out 2 players and listed 7 as questionable. So obviously out would be Kirby and Brian Branch. I don't even know. Isn't Brian Branch on the whatchamacallit? On the injured reserve? Coyote is questionable. Thomas Harper is questionable. Kirby Joseph is out. Christian Mahogany is questionable. Khalif Raymond is questionable. Sione Vaki is questionable. Shane Zilsher is questionable. Alex Anzalone doesn't have a designation. Brian Branch is out, of course. And Taylor Decker is questionable. He looked so good last week. Brad about to extend him for 3 years. Oh my goodness. 3 years in which he will play 3 games. Fire Circle, out, bro. One Pride Worldwide. All right, we'll check you out later, man. What up, though, Cornelius? Cornelius T. What up, though? Kirby has not been on IR for 6 weeks. He's a candidate for IR. I don't know if they're going to put him on IR. I wouldn't put him on IR if he just had a setback. You thought he was going to play all week and then he had a setback. You put him on IR, he's not going to be available for these last 4 games. Even if he misses the next 2 and he can play the last 2, it's still going to be helpful. So, no, I wouldn't put him on IR at this point. Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. All right. What type of voodoo have the Rams done that they only have one player on the injury list that probably will play? I don't know. Maybe Brad Holmes needs to go back to LA and get some whatever they're doing over there. Maybe he needs to sit down with old Les Snead and get some lessons. Kirby needs to sit till next year. From what I'm understanding, it's a cartilage issue. So whether he sits, whether he plays, he might go and get some stem cell treatment and stuff like that this summer, but cartilage doesn't regenerate. So it's more so a pain tolerance situation. Vaki, Pascal, Levi, Rexstraw, Davenport, all made of glass. I'm sure I'm missing someone. Emmanuel Mosley, DJ Chark. Our medical squad is still SOL. It's the only thing that hasn't changed. Well, they need to do something with the medical staff, bro, because these injuries are crazy every year. And people swore up and down last year. Oh, it can't happen. It can't happen again. All right, get y'all mailbag questions in, man. I'm hot. Even though I took the hoodie off, I'm hot. So I'm looking to get out of this living room in a minute. Get into the cool refreshingness of the car. So get y'all mailbag questions in. Let me know. I'll answer a few, and then I will head out, and then we will be back for the game. What is it? It's a 4:25 game, right? America's Game of the Week. Let me throw this kettle back on. I'll be right back. Get y'all mailbag questions in. All right. Mailbag. What's Kirby's contract look like again? Oh, a lot of option years and roster. What is it? What do they call those options? Not a lot of base salary. That's what it looks like. And those are going to be the kind of salaries or contracts they have to put out going forward because it keeps the cap hits down. If we win this game, I believe we make the playoffs. If we win this game, I believe that we basically We got hot last week. We rode the momentum into this week, and we can win out. We can afford to lose this game, but then you've got to beat the Steelers, the Bears, and the Vikings, which should be easy enough, right? But and you're gonna have to be a desperate team for 3 weeks. Mailbag keys to victory. Do not become susceptible to their scoring defense. Whatever you do, you got to stay in third and manageable. You can't get into third and long, third and 10, all these things, because you've got to convert. If you're down to third and 4 most of the time, and you pick up the 3 yards, you got to go for it on fourth down. I know a lot of people say take the points, but I feel like field goals in this game will get you beat. So stay out of third and long, and score touchdowns, bro. That's the keys to victory. And also pressure Matthew Stafford, sack him, make him very, very uncomfortable. And you never talked about Green Bay's finish. Oh, yeah. Let me look up their schedule. I know they got the Broncos in Denver. I believe they lose to the Broncos. Let me get the rest of it. Mailbag, Sharon Moore went from winning a national championship to wearing an ankle monitor in 2 years. Did you have that on your bingo card? I did not. I did not at all. That man, he did it all for the nookie. The nookie, so he could get a cookie. Bro. He fumbled the bag for the box. He fumbled the bag for the box. I don't, I mean, not only did he fumble the bag for the box, then he went to her house and grabbed multiple butter knives. Butter knives out of the kitchen drawer and a pair of kitchen scissors, and said he was going to end his life and he was going to make her watch. What are you doing with a butter knife? Like, whose life are you ending with a butter knife? If you're going to end somebody's life with a butter knife, you have to hate that person, because that is going to be a long and arduous process. And you trying to end your own life with a butter knife? Ain't gonna work, bro. You better grab that Ginsu. What you thought it was? All right, the Packers, as I said, they will play the Broncos. I believe they will lose that game because they are the Broncos are at home. The Broncos are 11-2. The Broncos have the number 1 defense as far as I think scoring. I think they're top 3 in everything. So yeah, I don't know. Jordan Love can try to. I hope Jordan Love tries to throw fadeaways towards Pat Surtain the whole game. I hope so. And I hope Pat Surtain gets about 4 picks. Bears and Packers. Or is it Packers at Bears? Yeah, Packers at Bears. I mean, they could split it. I can see the Packers losing to the Bears because all that stuff that happened in Lambeau was very it was tight. and Caleb made poor decisions. You can't count on Caleb to make poor decisions all the time because he's probably going to with whatever house um yeah, I don't know. I just think they can split. All right, and the Ravens. The Ravens, I would say, what's the health of Lamar Jackson looking like? That's the thing. What is the health of Lamar Jackson? The Ravens are going to be playing for their playoff lives. Like I say, for that one, I think it depends on Lamar Jackson's health. And the Vikings are going to beat the Vikings. I know the Falcons played spoiler last night for the Bucks. I don't think the Vikings are going to be able to do that at all. What up, though, Mr. Morale 313? You think he was getting fired anyway? He wasn't a good coach. He wasn't a good coach. But even if he had got fired, he would have still kept the bag. They fired him for cause, which means they can take the bag. The girl wasn't even better looking than his wife. If I'm risking $13 million, it wouldn't have been for her. Maybe the box was open like the box office. And maybe, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't have done it. Saying, All right, your wife gotta be at least be like, I understand why you did it. I don't know. Maybe maybe the top game was superstar level. I don't know. You know. Nah, you never want to go out with butter knives at your neck. He went out with butter knives at his neck. That's crazy. Have you played with the playoff machine at all? Nah, I haven't. Um, I just know what the Lions have to do. They have to win. That's what the Lions have to do to advance. So we'll look at the playoff machine. Select criteria. I'm not finna do all that right now. I'm not about to do all that right now. I don't have the strength. Wait, it was confirmed to be butter knives. Yeah, that's what they said in court today. Had the court video. Said he went in the kitchen drawer and grabbed several butter knives and a pair of kitchen scissors. Edward butter knife hands. Oh, butter knife head ass Nick. He doesn't even know how to X himself. And he doesn't know how to use the X receiver either. But I'm bumped. That's why you don't think the Lions will make the playoffs because they got it easy. No, I'm saying I do. I think that they will make the playoffs. They just got to win out. You know what I mean? And realistically, there's one game left that they can lose. You can go 11-6 and have a chance. There's no chance of 10-7. The only way you have a chance of 10-7 is if you play in a horrible division. That's it. That's the only way. You got to play in a horrible division, and each team got to be like 5-5 or less. You know, then you at 10-7, you win your division because everybody else is like 9-8 or 6-11. You know, 3-14. Like, yeah, if you're playing in a division like that, no problem. But if you're not, and they're playing in a tightly contested division, it's hard to see. I need that money, Frankie. This man threw 13 million out the window using butter knives. Yeah. That's true. That's true. Mm-hmm. But uh yeah, Sharon Moore is a dumbass. Um, there's people out there. Anybody that's defending him is crazy, but there's people out there who are going, well, it's not that straightforward. It's all these pitfalls and all these other things. It just doesn't make sense. Like, what are you the coach of the Michigan Wolverines for? That's number one. Are you just the coach so you can abuse power? If that's your point, if that's your reasoning, then fine. That's what he did. I don't think anybody goes into a job like that with that intention. And it's not hard to maintain your integrity. And then you throw on, hey, I got $13 million left on this contract. I don't understand. He's an idiot. That's all I can say. Man, I also heard that he was found out because he DoorDashed a Plan B to his office. He's an idiot. If that's true, he's an idiot. Yeah, NFC West gonna be, yeah. I think the Rams have they have the Seahawks one more time. They don't have they might have the Cardinals again, and they don't have the 49ers again. So it's the 49ers and the Seahawks that got to do something. And really, the 49ers is the fastest path because they're in the wild card. So the 49ers getting put out of the wild card will vault us in, but we got to take care of business. Oh, he wasn't mid. He was terrible. He was terrible, bro. So at what point do you just make him your recruiter? Because he's recruiting and he's getting all this talent, but he's not using it. I mean, did Bryce Underwood look like he was worth $10 million to you this year? I was like, what the frick? What? Why would they pay $10 for this? I mean, yeah, why would they pay $10 for this dude? Much less $10 million. Like, he did not look good at all. as I said, I didn't watch the Michigan Ohio State game because I knew they were going to lose, and I was watching the score before I went to bed. And when I saw it, them take the lead, and I'm looking at like he got three passes for 17 yards or some crap like that. I was like, oh no, this is over. They're not going to score touchdowns, and they didn't. So I rolled out. But anyway, guys, I gotta get up out of here. So once again, I appreciate you guys for coming through, for drinking conversation. We will be back here on Sunday, streaming the game, America's Game of the Week, 4:25 p.m. Eastern. You already know what it is. I watched one Michigan game this season, the Oklahoma game. Yeah, I didn't watch two. It's probably something similar. All right, once again, the Motor City Cats R&D back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your lines news pragmatic, and we're out. Peace.